Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar series for parents. We are here to talk a little bit about the first 6 weeks of college and what that looks like at Miami and how you can support your student. So I am Rebecca Badra-Young. I'm the director for the Office of Student Wellness.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Harrison. I'm one of the associate directors in the Student Activities and Fraternity and Sorority Life office here on campus.
So as you'll notice, we have a chat box, so please feel free to use that to ask any questions as we go. And also so that you know this is being recorded and will be on the Parent and Families Programs website for later reference. So thank you. Thank you for spending your time with us today. So we want to talk about the first 6 weeks of school because it's a very exciting time. It's a time of transition, but it can also be a time when we see some negative consequences for our students because it's the first time that they may be experiencing life on their own and without the same kind of supervision or rules that they had previous to college. So we want to address some of that and some of the ways in which Miami is supporting students making good, healthy, legal choices, as well as talk a little bit about how you can support your students. So first 6 weeks, what are some of the negative consequences that we see among our students? Unfortunately, we do see students engaging with alcohol in ways that are different than how they did in high school, and because of that, are experiencing some health hazards, whether it's the overconsumption of alcohol, whether it's choices being made while intoxicated, physical fights, arguments, and then in the worst cases, having to go to the hospital because of alcohol poisoning. So we're having conversations with your students about that now on campus. We also primed them for these conversations prior to coming to campus through some online education. You may already know that your student had to take the Alcohol EDU for College module, the Sexual Assault Prevention for Undergraduates module. We also asked them to take the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion module. So these are the first steps in having this conversation and dialogue with your students. We also had some conversations with your students in some of the first-year seminar classes that they're taking. So we're engaging your student to have a conversation, but also we want to give them the right skills they need to make good, healthy legal decisions while on campus. So we're having programs on campus that kind of tackle the topics of sexual and interpersonal violence, alcohol and other drugs, and then gender-based violence and bias. So that's what's happening here in the classroom. Tiffany's going to talk to us about all the fun things that are happening on campus and in the Oxford community that your student can be engaged in that is fun, safe, healthy, and exciting.
Yes. So if you came to our presentation over the summer about getting involved, a lot about what your student can be doing here in campus, and I said it hurts my heart for a student to say, well, I just went out drinking because there's nothing else to do. So we've been keeping them busy, I promise. So if you're a parent of a first-year student, they were hitting the ground running the first Thursday of the semester with a Thursday night block party. So they got to know the rec. They got to know some of their intramural options, kind of what goes on in the Goggin Ice Center, things like that. On Friday night, they got a taste of Late Night Miami. So if you're new to Miami and the things that happen here, there are Thursday, Friday, Saturday night events every weekend with Late Night Miami. 9 times out of 10, they are free for all students. If they're not free, they're significantly subsidized in price, and so they can go on off-campus trips for 1/10 of the price that it would cost them to do something downtown in Cincinnati. So that Friday night, they were able to travel around campus. They were able to play dodgeball. Some students planted succulents in the Crawford's backyard. Other students were up in the pavilion with a roller rink that we brought on campus, and then they ended the night with some fireworks. And then on Saturday night was Live at the Quad. So your students who are living on campus in residence halls were able to participate in, oh my gosh, I don't even know, like the number is unlimited of things that they could have done on Saturday night. There was a foam party, there was a craft night, there was a music festival on that Saturday night. And then from there, we've hit the ground running. So we have had the Mega Fair already. So you might have heard your student talk about our large involvement fairs. That first one this semester, about 475 of our 700 organizations were out there looking for new members. So they were looking for your students to join their organizations. There was food, there were student performances. I mean, there's anything you could ever ask for at Mega Fair, which is great. We saw about 6,500 to 7,000 students come out to that event, which is incredible and amazing. Thursday night, that first semester, that first week of classes, there was a community picnic. So if your student is wanting to get to know Oxford and the area around campus, that was a great way for them to kind of step their toes into that. And then you might notice I'm wearing a t-shirt today. We're kicking off homecoming weekend already, so your students have the ability to go through the Bundys tonight. So if you are a fan of The Voice, yes, the Bundys are a group of alumni who made it onto The Voice. They're the first group of performers on The Voice. They're going to be here at Miami tonight, which is super exciting. And then tomorrow, we kick off our homecoming game around 2:30. So if your student is looking to tailgate or go to their first Miami football game, now is the time. And then, like I said, the first 50 days, it just doesn't stop. So if you downloaded the Miami Events app while you were here for orientation, you can take a peek at the first 50 days of events. Those are all posted in that app. And I would also encourage you to have your student check on the hub. So the hub is kind of our virtual event space where they can see what student organizations are doing, what departments are doing, what late night is doing, and what Miami Activities and Programming, our programming board on campus, is doing for the semester. So there's so much to look forward to even past the first 50 days. I'm sure you heard about Family Weekend. So if you're looking to come back, Family Weekend is a great time to do that. That's the weekend of October 17th through the 19th. There's so much to do. I know you can come back anytime, but why not come back when there are things for you to do specifically with your family here on campus? Our programming board never stops. So there's a free dinner on campus on Friday night. There's a farmer's market on Saturday morning. There's a tailgate. There's a football game. There's a comedian. There's a hockey. Like, it's exhaustive, the list of things that you can be doing while you're back on campus. So if you are hearing from your student, I just don't know what to do tonight, there are several different places to send them. Have them check the hub. Have them check the events app. Have them check social media. Miami University does an awesome job of letting you know what's going on social media. So that's a great account to follow. So if you have any questions or students are just not quite finding their place, send them our way. The Student Activities Office has great connections on what's happening on campus, but also what is your niche for involvement there. So send them our way.
Love it.
Yeah.
This is such a vibrant time of year. It is my favorite time of year. There's so much going on. There's so much positive energy. Students are excited. They're finding old friends. They're making new friends. It's really a fun time to be on campus. So given that, we also know that it can be a scary time for students to try to find those new friends and find their group. And so we want to make sure that you're checking in with your student as well. Ask them what they've been doing, whether they've been trying out. Encourage them to check out some of the student orgs. Maybe they missed Mega Fair. That's okay. You can go on the hub, and your students should know about the hub is what it's called. And they can go and look at all 700 student organizations and check in. There's contact information so that they can reach out and just find out more about what they might even not know is an interest of theirs. Some of the student organizations are very niche.
Yes.
There used to be a My Little Pony fan club. I don't know if it still exists.
Still not an underwater basket weaving club. I don't know how that makes sense, but
Quidditch team.
Yes.
I mean, it's really exciting stuff. So we really encourage you to help them find the confidence and some motivation to kind of break out of the mold and find their group. And if they're having some issues with that, you know, it's okay to reach out to the Parent-Family Programs Office to get some additional advice of how their students can connect on campus. But what we really want them to do is feel that they belong here, make Oxford and Miami their home, and feel supported in doing that. And so I think that's why you see this robust calendar of activities, is just to be able to appeal to a large amount of students and student interest and help them find each other. Because we know that long-lasting lifetime friendships happen here. They start here. So that's very exciting. We also know that sometimes alcohol can be a choice in those social interactions. And so I want to encourage parents to have a very frank conversation with their student about what your expectations are around alcohol consumption. Miami's expectation is that all alcohol consumption is legal and low risk, and we give the students the skills they need in order to understand what low-risk alcohol consumption means, and we're pretty firm about what legal means. But we also know that parents are the biggest influencers on students' decision-making, and may not always feel that way when they're in college, but the research has indicated that parents still are the biggest influencers on student behavior. So we want to encourage you to let them know what your expectations are and how they can reach out to you and others for help. And so what that looks like here at Miami is we have an expectation And it is written in our code of conduct that students will help each other, and we call that the Good Samaritan policy. The Good Samaritan policy says that if you have consumed alcohol or drugs, and if someone else has consumed alcohol and drugs and you are concerned for their safety, you don't have to have been the one that consumed. Any student can call for help for another student, and that will be taken into account in the conduct procedures so that they can then have a sort of amnesty against the charges by putting their health and safety first. So call the police, call the hospital, call the RA, call Residence Life so that that student is getting the help they need. That is the priority at Miami. So we encourage you, if you want to learn more about the Good Samaritan policy, or if your student is confused by the Good Samaritan policy, to go to the Miami website and search that, and the policy is written in quite great detail so that we can limit any confusion there is about that policy. At the end of the day, we want students to get each other's help and look out for each other. They're also getting that skills in a program called Step Up, which all first-year students are getting through first-year seminar classes, and that is a bystander intervention education program that gives them the skills to intervene safely and effectively on behalf of their peers. So again, just reemphasizing that expectation that we all look out for each other and it's okay to get help. So with that said, we also want to make you aware of the It's On Us campaign. The It's On Us campaign is a university and community promise to our students that we will work to end gender-based violence and sexual interpersonal assault. And so we take that campaign seriously. We have pledges for students to sign and to take that initiative to bring an end to sexual assault and sexual interpersonal violence on our campus. We have programs, we have activities, awareness events, lecturers, and opportunities for community and campus dialogue on this topic. As well, we also have response services that we promote widely on our campus. This is an issue that exists on all college campuses, and we want Miami to be the leader in ending sexual and interpersonal violence. That's heavy stuff, and I understand that. If you think that your student would benefit from a conversation or intervention, we want you to encourage them to seek out the student counseling services. Student counseling services is on campus. They are available to students. They are able to get in. They will always have a triage appointment within a week. If it's an emergency case, they get in that day. And we want to make sure that they feel supported and have the services they need if they have any question about mental health, alcohol and other drug substance use, as well as just feeling like they belong. Homesickness is a common reason students pop into the student counseling service. Although we probably don't see homesickness until after Thanksgiving when they come home and spend some time with you, and then they have to come back, and that's usually when the homesickness kicks in. But we just want to make sure that you know that there are people here on campus who are ready and willing to serve your students. Other comments or any additions?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, your students chose Miami, right? And whether it was the people or the resources or the program, we just want to make sure that you are an advocate for us and connecting them to resources that probably are the reason why they chose to come here, and make sure that they don't forget about them once they get here and they get settled.
Absolutely. So we mentioned student counseling services, student activities, the Office of Student Activities, the Office of Student Wellness, Student Health Services, Residence Life. These are all folks that are here to serve your student. But we also know that that's a lot of people. So your point of contact is always the Parents and Family Programs website or Mark Pontius, the director of the office, and he can make sure that you get connected to the right folks on campus to help you and your students. So happy homecoming. Go Red Hawks.
Go Red Hawks. Do we have any questions?
Yeah. Wait, maybe one. Thank you. When will students meet with their advisor? So students are the ones that set up the meeting with their advisors. They're encouraged to do so. Like, may have an RA or residence hall directors that might remind them to set these up, but essentially you need to encourage your student, if they haven't already made an appointment with their advisor, to reach out and do that. The sooner the better. By October.
So as the first 50 days are wrapping up, they can be doing all these fun things, but just making sure that they're touching base, their advisor has put a face with a name. That way they can kind of understand what their path for Miami is.
Thank you. Good question. Looks like we may have another. Nope. Never mind. We don't.
Great.
Wait. Nope. Okay.
Questions. Great. Well, I mean, we mentioned that this is going to be posted on the parents' website. So if you know of somebody who might have missed it, or you want to watch it again, you're more than welcome to revisit the website. And I think as we were talking, more questions are coming in. So feel free to keep sending those questions. If you have questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to us. We are always happy.
Here it is. Protocols for a sick roommate. Well, it's going to depend on the sickness.
Yes.
So if it's common cold, then the protocol would be to encourage your student to do what they would do if they were at home and a family member was sick. You know, limit your interactions, wash your hands, and wash your hands. Don't share utensils, don't share drinks or share food, those types of procedures that you would at home. Now, if it's a communicable disease as determined by the Department of Public Health, then there are official protocols that will go into place that can include quarantine for the sick roommate. It will also include a cleansing of that, I want to say dorm, residence hall room. And so there are official protocols as well if that disease, or if that sick roommate meets that criteria. Examples of communicable diseases. That could include flu. It depends on the flu season and what the CDC recommends for that particular flu season. It could include measles, mumps, chicken pox, meningitis, mono. Yep, these are communicable diseases.
And all students can make an appointment. So if your student has a roommate that might just not look like they're feeling very well, encourage them to schedule an appointment with health services. They are a full functioning health services department that can issue prescriptions and everything.
Great. The other question is vaping allowed in residence halls? No. Miami's tobacco-free policy includes the use of e-cigarettes and vaping, so that is not allowed in our residence halls. If there is a roommate that is vaping, encourage your students to report that to their RA or their residence director.
That's a great question.
Yeah, they are. What if a roommate has mono? Does one move out? So that's, go ahead.
The mono is not contractable as long as they are not swapping bodily fluids or sharing of intimate things. And so as long as you are taking the precautions as a roommate to not put yourself in a situation where you may contract mono, the best thing that you could do is to give them space and give them rest. It is more likely than not that they will be missing classes. They will be trying to sleep a little extra and just taking a little extra care of themselves for a couple of weeks.
And the healthy roommate would not have to move out for mono.
Yeah. And if you're the parent of somebody having mono, tell them to slow down, take a break, and relax.
So the other question is where to find our active shooter video. You can find that at the Miami University Police Department website. And I would direct any follow-up questions to the active shooter video to Miami Police Department. Okay, great questions, thank you. And I'm sure more will come up, so please don't hesitate to reach out to Mark Pontius, Director for the Family and Parent Programs Office. Parent and Family
Program.
That's the one.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, and have a great day.